Joseph Augustus Sorelli, boy in the box identified after 65 years. For 65 years, a community was haunted by the murder of a young boy. Multiple generations of law enforcement investigators doggedly pursued the truth, and, in 2022, breakthroughs in DNA analysis finally solved the puzzle of the unidentified boy in the box. Welcome to InfoScreen YouTube channel. Please subscribe if you are new. Discovery of the body. In 1957, a boy's body was found in the wooded area of Fox Chase in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He was discovered first by a man who had set illegal muskrat traps in the area and failed to inform anyone about the body. A few days later, a young college student, 26-year-old Frederick Benosis, told police he saw a rabbit in the area and knew of the animal traps. He claimed he got out to make sure the animal was safe and stumbled upon the dead body in the box, but didn't call police right away. It was later determined Frederick was in the woods to spy on wayward girls at the Good Shepherd School and feared calling the police and incriminating himself. The next day, however, he called the police to report the body. America's unknown child. The young boy was 3 feet 6 inches and only weighed 30 to 40 pounds. He had blue eyes, medium to light brown curly hair, and a fair complexion. Authorities believed he was between 4 and 6 years of age. At the time of his death, he was malnourished with deep bruising on his head and body. His ribs were visible under his skin, and he had bloody and severely dry, chapped lips. He had surgical scarring on his ankle and groin and had an L-shaped scar under his chin. The boy's body had clumps of hair on him, indicating his hair was cut after death. He had wrinkled hands and feet, which suggested that he was submerged in water for a long period of time before death. The last time he had eaten was 2 to 3 hours before death, and it's believed he may have had a chronic eye ailment. His cause of death was determined to be multiple blows to the head. The investigation. Once the police had been notified of the body in the woods, they went to the scene. They opened a report on February 26, 1957. The boy's naked body had been wrapped in a cheap plaid blanket and stuffed in a bassinet box. The bassinet that came in this box was only sold at JCPenney stores, and only 12 had been sold in the area of Upper Darby. The police investigated every sale, but all boxes and bassinets were accounted for. They took the boy's fingerprints in the hope of finding his identity in a missing child report, but they came up empty. No missing children reports matched the description of the boy either. This case garnered local attention in Philadelphia and Delaware Valley, but sadly no further. The Philadelphia Inquirer printed 400,000 flyers that were handed out to the local community. It was even included with every single gas bill that was sent out. The flyer had the boy's likeness and what little details they had gathered about his appearance. The crime scene had been looked over multiple times by 270 police academy recruits. It was thought that, due to the cold weather, the body of the boy could have been out in woods between 2 days and 3 weeks. The recruits found additional evidence: a man's blue corduroy cap, a child's scarf, and a man's handkerchief with the letter G in the corner. Unfortunately, these clues didn't lead anywhere. The police decided to dress the boy up in clothing and sit him up for photos to send out to the public. They thought if he looked more alive, he might be easier to recognize, but the macabre gambit didn't yield any results. Decades later. On March 21, 2016, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released a forensic facial reconstruction of the boy's face and added it to their database. In August 2018, genealogy expert Barbara Ray Venter, who used DNA to help catch the Golden State Killer and solve several other murder cases, said she would use DNA profiling to try to identify the boy. Breakthrough 2022. In November 2022, the Philadelphia Police Department announced that the boy had been identified, adding that they may still be able to file criminal charges. CBS 3 investigations in Philadelphia confirmed that police know the boy's name after years and years of DNA analysis, cross-referenced with genealogical information. 1 month later, the child's identity was finally disclosed to the public. At a press conference, Commissioner Danielle Outlaw said that the boy in the box was Joseph Augustus Sorelli, born on January 13, 1953, in West Philadelphia. Out of respect for his living relatives, more family information was kept confidential for the time being, as the case remains unsolved. Philadelphia Police Captain John Smith stated, "There is a $20,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest and conviction of a suspect in this case." Update 2023, Parents Revealed. In January 2023, the Philadelphia Inquirer revealed the results of an investigation into the identity of the biological parents of Joseph. Based on investigators piecing together DNA evidence, building out family trees, and looking into the time frame, Joseph's biological father was determined to be Augustus J. Gus Sorelli, and his mother was Mary Elizabeth Betsy Abel. Betsy would have been 21 when she gave birth to Joseph, and Gus was 5 years older. There doesn't appear to be a formal relationship between the two, and it's theorized that Betsy gave up Joseph for adoption. Dan Bush, an attorney for the Sorelli family, states that neither Gus nor his family ever knew anything about Abel's pregnancy or Joseph himself. Bush stated, "A relative of Betsy Abel also states that it was unlikely that Abel would have harmed baby Joseph in any way." Gus died in 2014 at the age of 87, and Betsy died in 1991 in her early 60s. Theories. The discovery of Joseph Sorelli as the identity of the boy in the box will soon determine the accuracy of these theories, but until the perpetrator is also identified, there remains speculation about what happened to the murdered boy. Here are the theories that gained the most traction over the years. The Nicoletti family. The first theory involves a foster home run by Arthur Nicoletti just 1.5 miles from the crime scene. Investigators checked on the house and found there were supposed to be 8 children in the home. All had been accounted for. Police hired a psychic to help in the case, and she led them to the home without ever being in the area before. Arthur refused a lie detector test, but the police eventually ruled out the family as suspects. Many people, to this day, still believe Arthur and his wife had something to do with the death of the little boy. People believe the child may have been their illegitimate grandchild from a baby born out of wedlock by one of their biological daughters. One of the items found at the sale was a bassinet that would have come in the same box the boy was found in. Martha's theory. Theory 2 came about in May 2002 when a businesswoman first known only by M, but later identified as Martha from Cincinnati, Ohio, came forward with the possible identity of the boy in the box. She said her mother was abusive and bought the boy from his parents to be used and abused the same way she had been. Martha said the boy's name was Jonathan and he was disabled and didn't speak. In February 1957, she claimed her mother killed the boy by slamming his body into the ground in a rage after he had thrown up baked beans in the bathtub. After 6 months of investigating, authorities were unable to corroborate her story, and it couldn't be proven true or false. Later, they learned Martha had some mental health problems, and police were less inclined to trust her story. Boy dressed as a girl. A third theory that ties into the one above is that the boy was dressed as a girl before he died. It's believed that the boy's hair was long before it was chopped off, and his eyebrows had shown signs of being plucked to look more feminine. The surgical markings on the groin area are not specific but could lead to this being a stronger theory. Some people think Martha's mother dressed this little boy as a girl to help pass him off as simply her daughter's friend. There was a composite sketch made of the boy with longer hair, but it produced no leads. Carnival workers. The last theory involves a couple of carnival workers with 10 children, 6 of whom died. Kenneth and Irene Dudley were arrested in 1961 in Lawrenceville, Virginia. All 6 children died of malnutrition and neglect, and all had been wrapped in blankets and dumped in various places in several states. 2 of the children's bodies were thrown in a lake. After doing a thorough investigation, the police were able to rule out the boy in the box as one of their children.